But yeah, okay, Christian Van. So look, this is what I want to know about the city. So like, what's our target? Like who? I know we was talking earlier about um, impacting the kids and the elderly.
Right.
When you spoke on that, like what was that gearing to? Like us being able to cultivate the kids or tapping in with the elderly? What was that?
Well,
I know I'm not saying it right. So
no,
you
but
tell.
no, it's cyclical, you know. And like I said before, I feel like one of the ways you can tell if society is healthy or not is how we treat our elderly and how we raise our children. And if we're treating our elderly poorly and we're raising our children poorly, then we have an illness, we have a sickness. We're not doing it as we should do. The thing is, if we raise our children the right way, and it's coming from us, of course, and raising the right way, then organically we'll treat our elderly better, and our values they'll go in a circle. And so I heard somebody say this, and I wish I give them credit. I don't know who said it, but culture is not what you do. Culture is what you reward. So culture is not the actions that you do. Culture is the actions that you reward. And so in our own children, if we reward the actions of being focused and being disciplined and being considerate and being compassionate, all those things, we award and reward those things, then they'll do that more. You can see that with your own children. Yeah. Whatever actions you reward, those are the actions that they repeat. And so it's a cultural thing. And I've always said that if we make all our decisions with the well-being of our children in mind, it's almost impossible to make the wrong decision. And so what we have to do in this city and society in general is find those things or organizations or institutions that are good for our children and pour into those. And so that goes back to culture. So we believe in what we reward. And so if we see these things at work, whether it's an after-school care program or a nonprofit or whatever thing for these kids, and we reward those things, that becomes a part of our culture. And then now our culture is, man, they care for these kids. And we're raising them the right way. And then everything else takes care of itself, you know. But if we neglect these babies, I really feel like my generation, our generation, you know, so from 30 to 40, we are very concerned with ourselves. We're very concerned with ourselves to the detriment of society as a whole. We've become prisoners of self-care. Now, I believe in self-care now. Don't get too, I believe in mental health. I believe in all, I'm an advocate of all of that.
Likewise.
But there is a balance. There is a balance. We can be too into ourselves. And we've overcorrected. So the generation before us, they didn't take care of themselves enough. And they suffered as parents. They suffered as leaders because they didn't take care of themselves.
That's very true.
We have overcorrected, and we're suffering as parents because I don't feel like we're paying enough attention to these children. We're not paying enough attention to what they consume. We're not paying enough attention to what they're into because we're very much into ourselves.
That's right.
And so we've overcorrected. So we had to get back into some middle ground where, yeah, we're taking care of ourselves to take care of somebody else. So it's not, taking care of me is not a means to an end. I have a wife and children, and I'm responsible for my community as well. So I take care of myself so I can better serve others. Because to me, you know, being a man is being a savage servant. You know, and being both of those things. I am a servant because I want to help others. I want to be there for others. I'm also a savage because I'll go all the way to do that. So to be the lion and the lamb, but in order to do that, I do have to take care of myself. But the means to the end is I'm taking care of myself so I can better serve others.
Gotcha.
You know, so we can't be prisoners of self-care. We can't be prisoners of ourselves. You know, so.
Well, let me ask you this then. You know, we're in Jackson, and that's a very big metropolitan area. So, what advice would you give to the people of the community that to where they're not getting overwhelmed? Because I'm looking at the news and I'm hearing a lot of things, and when me and you do come together and discuss some things, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
This thing, it's becoming as if every day it's becoming normal to hear somebody's dying.
Right.
On each quarter.
Right.
Of the section in Jackson. So what would you give to the community, the people that are in the community that want to change the community, to not get so overwhelmed? Where should they start? How do you not get overwhelmed but also still help your community?
This, and I can't give credit to who said this. This is perfect. And this saying really hits both sides of that equation.
Okay.
My brother-in-law, a guy named Joshua Griffin. He's from a community called Galilee, Mississippi, outside Walnut Grove. Josh from Galilee. He's a really good high school football coach. But we were talking years ago, and he said the way you change the world is you make your world smaller. And that's something I live by. And for me, my world is Jackson, right? And so the world could crumble around Jackson. I wouldn't bat an eye because I have made this my world. And to somebody who's very concerned about their community, the way that you keep from being overwhelmed but staying engaged at the same time is you make your world smaller. Whatever street you live on, make that your world. Your workplace, make that your world. Even if you want to start small, you say, okay, my home and my 2 neighbors. Or even an apartment complex, okay, this building, our building right here, building A or building 64, whatever it is, okay, let's make this our world. Let's make sure it's clean around here. Let's make sure we have a relationship. Let's make sure that we're in tune with each other.
That's right.
So the way you change the world is you make your world smaller, because the world is not this spinning rock that we live on. This is the planet. Inside each of us is a perspective, is a world. So if you get this little 3rd grader at G.N. Smith Elementary who doesn't have great self-esteem or doesn't think very much of themselves and doesn't think, but you touch this kid or you touch this person and now they open their eyes and say, I am special, I am unique, I can do anything. You have changed the world. You made the world smaller. And by making the world smaller, it doesn't make it less important. As a matter of fact, it makes it more precious. When you make the world smaller, it doesn't make it less important, it makes it even more precious. So whatever is in front of your face, you make that paramount. The things that you can touch and change, you make that paramount. And if we all do that, and if we can do it consistently, we'll look up, not even 5 years from now, we'll look up 5 months from now and say, man, I can't believe how far we've come. And so that'll always be my mantra, is the way you change the world is you make the world smaller.
I agree with that. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because it's you know, I tend to try to step into some of those roles myself, and it gets overwhelming because you don't know where to start, and you see so many big problems, and it's like, damn, I want to go over there and attack that, but it's hard to put your hands on it, and so I totally agree with that.
Yeah, those big problems will take care of themselves if we attack what's right in front of us.
Okay.
And you don't even look up at the big problem.
Okay.
If you attack, it's like a mountain. You don't look up the mountain while you climb the mountain. You take steps. You take steps.
Okay.
Because if you look at the mountain, you ain't never get across the mountain. You know, you don't walk over a mountain in 5 minutes. You know, it's countless steps, and you had to one step at a time. So if we all do that, man, like I said, it's not gonna take 5 years.
Right.
We'll look up. If you start that in your neighborhood right now, next week it's gonna look different. I promise you. Just do that. Way change the world and make the world smaller.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.